And a happy Friday morning to you. This is the Vermont Utility Weather Hazards Outlook. This is valid the rest of today, Friday, through next Thursday, the 24th day of December. Weather systems to become a little bit more active this period, but utility impacts are very marginal. In the longer range, low confidence concern for a possible wind event. This would happen on Christmas Eve Day, December 24th, Thursday. We'll have to keep a close eye on that. Otherwise, coldest air so far this season is going to be moving in, and that's happening today, and it'll be with us through the entire weekend, moderating those temperatures gradually back upward through next week ahead of the holiday. Historical warmth and lack of snow cover resumes next week after seeing just a little bit of coating for this weekend. Looking at kind of a expanded scale here, a larger scale, you can see the main action in the northern hemisphere has been really in the up in the polar areas, of course, and then second to that, south and east of parts of Asia. We're seeing very strong storm systems work their way into the Bering Straits. This is Alaska here. This is British Columbia, and of course the lower 48. And the situation is such that the North Atlantic is where the coldest air is coming in and making it into the west coast. This moderates as it works east into the eastern half of the U.S. And kind of a graveyard of sorts where many storms work their way, power up, and then have a tendency to weaken and work into parts of the Canadian Maritimes, something you don't see very often. This is very typical in El Nino induced. You can see this is what we call the intertropical convergence zone. It's about 10 degrees north latitude, just north of the equator. This is very El Nino oriented, but you see some of that subtropical jet stream pulling off some of that moisture and then stretching it all the way across, a little bit off the southeast and eastern coast now. You can see one system departing. This is what brought us our rains here over Thursday night. But you can see this activity gets up into even the northern parts of Europe. Little different look here, but little sharper images. This is the general larger scale, again, coming in off the Pacific Ocean. Starts on the 11th, goes to the 18th today. So you can see in general, a lot of storminess moving in off the North Pacific Ocean, kind of a ridge of higher pressure. And you can see these storm systems come through and then kind of make a die out and weaken considerably as they head toward the Canadian Maritimes. But here's the deal. The main storm track with snow stays roughly about like this and sort of right through our neck of the woods or a little bit to the north of that, and I'll show you that with the modeling here. But this has been the weather pattern for much of this week, and we've had areas and times when we've had significant areas of higher pressure controlling our weather with some decent weather. Most recently, a lot of cloud cover. That kind of comes with the territory. Okay, quick projection with the European model for the eastern half of the country. This is our weather systems that has moved out. The precipitation stretches off to the south and east of our region. You can see the cold air mass. This is illustrated with these blue lines here. These are thicknesses. The smaller thicknesses associated with colder, dense air, and you can see these lake effect plumes starting to come off the Great Lakes. And this is what's going to be affecting us this weekend. So to run this through here, you can see these things grow in beards a little bit, sideways beards, you might say. But this is lake effect plumes coming off the Great Lakes, and those lake effect plumes make it into Vermont. This is valid during the morning hours tomorrow, Saturday. And you can see that it gets into the state of Vermont, and then ridge of higher pressure kills that with anticyclone, sinking motion in the atmosphere. It shuts down the lake effect machine. So we're looking at a pretty nice day on Sunday with the models here. That area of higher pressure ridges off, and then it's replaced by a southwesterly flow, southerly flow, and that's why we're going to moderate very quickly next week. You can see these warmer thicknesses beginning to push into the region. The thicker the atmosphere, the warmer. So this is going to move on in. The next weather system is going to be working off mostly to the north of us. It does look like we have a little bit of an issue into Monday night and Tuesday with some spotty light rain showers. Nothing real major there. And then we have much more of a potent southerly flow that's going to be developing as jet stream energy comes out of the Pacific Ocean, crosses the Rockies, and starts to spin up a much stronger weather system here. However, it weakens as it pushes toward the Canadian Maritimes once again. The one thing that's on the back side of this is a little potent jet stream energy here. This is our issues for basically on Thursday. It's going to produce some stronger winds. And you can see colder air behind it. So this little potent system here is going to be crossing into Vermont, and it may lower the thresholds, the thicknesses rather, to actually produce a little bit of maybe some wet snowflakes on Christmas Eve. We'll see how that works out. But this is the latest information. This is anomalous stuff, low confidence. I've been watching this go back and forth several times. Now, beyond that, going into day 8, 9, 10, you can see we warm back up again and go back to more rain showers. And then we cool back down, and this is going to be the pattern here to come. I think you're going to see this oscillation kind of business. Of course, recent snowfall, pretty dismal, just traced to 1-inch amounts, not very much. And of course, depths on the ground, not showing what's up top Mount Mansfield, but they have about an inch or so. Okay, total precipitation projections. You can see the west coast just getting slammed by Pacific storms. That's the real active area here. A secondary area coming up, I showed you that on the satellite pictures, coming through here. And then we're kind of left in between with occasional weakening weather systems kind of dying out as they do. A little colder air, a little bit of lake effect. You can see downwind of each Great Lake. Good signal there for cold air coming in across the Great Lakes and supplying us with a little coating of snow in some locations. What about temperature? Well, this is the next 5-day high temperature anomalies. You can see 8 to 12 degrees above normal. 3 days later, we're back into the warmth. That's weighted for most of next week, and there's a pretty significant warmth that's going to be developing over our neck of the woods here. Basically, as we get into the late part of next week, you can see 15 to 18 to 21 degrees above normal once again. That's amazing. However, most computer models are giving us, with a little cool down here over the weekend, a little bit of snowfall. This is half-inch to 1-inch amounts. This is centered again on Montpelier, Vermont, and you could probably find the same thing at Morrisville and Newport, and we're talking a dusting to maybe a couple 3 inches. There could be as much as 4 inches atop some of our local summits. The time of main snowfall will be Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening, and by Sunday morning, high pressure builds in. We'll see some winter white on the ground, a little more Christmas cheer. Okay, zooming in on the NCAR ensemble, you can see where winter is going to be here. Keep an eye on the Great Lakes, and this is 18 hours out, 24 hours out, Saturday morning, and then watch what happens. You can see the lake effect plumes easily coming off our Great Lakes. And notice the Tug Hill Plateau region, and this is 48 hours out, 42 hours out. This is going to be the main area. Some of this does get across into northern Vermont and parts of central and southern Vermont. So there will be some areas in between that don't see a whole lot, but I'm expecting this area, generally in the Northeast Kingdom Highlands, will probably see the most, as well as some of our northern Green Mountain slopes. Okay, for utility concerns, the main issue here is going to be watching these lighter greens begin to work into the region. This is valid on Thursday evening at about 7 o'clock at night, and we're starting to see gusts. This is in knots, miles per hour. So that's extra special here. We're starting to see some wind gusts here that could be fairly strong. And these winds are from a westerly direction. So the wind gusts could be strong enough on Christmas Eve to cause some outages. We'll have to watch this very, very carefully. Again, this is about 12 hours ago. The model runs see the difference here. But if you go back a little bit, you'll find that, or here we go, ahead a little bit, you'll find that there's something coming through, it looks like during Christmas Eve, so something we're going to have to watch either way. And look at temperature schematic here. You can see the high of today, the temperatures from last night coming down a little bit. And we bottom out on Sunday morning with the coldest temperatures between 20 and 25. Again, this is centered on Montpelier, Vermont. And then from there, it looks like we start to moderate back upward, kind of slowly at first, and then a major moderation with that warm push and some rain moving in on Christmas Eve day. You can see some computer modeling and wants to bring us back up into the 50s. The European is in this category as well. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.